the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. The show that gives you the lowdown on how to become a successful real estate entrepreneur. With more than 30 years of experience, America's top female real estate investor Dwan is an expert in financial freedom and turning dreams into realities. Now's your chance to become a Dwandernaire with the help of Dwan. Here's to a flaming hot foreclosure market with the help of Dwan. Cheers.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. And I am Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor. And I'm so excited that you're joining me for another episode of Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. So as you know, on Thursdays, we interview people from all over the world, all walks of life, all kinds of interesting things. And the reason that I love these interviews is we try to figure out what's in their head. How did they get from, up into the higher echelon of what it is that they do? And maybe they can offer you a tip or an advice or something that might just be just the little code you've needed to crack for your very own self. Now, our motto at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that resonates with you, you're at the right place. And our focus this year is the new you in 22. So every show you're going to hear me say new you in 22, because let's just admit it, 2020 was like a dumpster fire. 2021 was pretty much like just a longer extended version of a dumpster fire. And now we're in 2022. So let's just have a new you. Let's get a new attitude. Let's be excited. Let's stop worrying, turn off the damn news, and let's get moving and get going and making our dreams come true and moving ahead. So with that, I have a great guest today. His name is Martin Saenz. And Martin, first of all, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Dwan, thank you for having me on.
I'm super excited to have you on. I love having people from just all different things and all different types of business, and I'm super happy to have you on today. So we start off, we have drinks with Dwan. I'm having tea.
Water.
So cheers.
Cheers.
And I ask everybody, just take a deep breath. Stretch it all out.
Love it. Love it.
And open your mind for some learning and some fun, and just have a good time with us. Barn is sure to be a lot of fun. We chatted a minute beforehand, so he's going to be super fun. So, Martin, I just want you to tell us kind of briefly who you are, what you do, and how we can reach you.
Yes, my name is Martin Saenz, and I'm a managing partner of an income fund called Bequest Funds. And it's a fund that pays 9% annually to investors on a monthly basis. And I can be reached at martin@bqfunds.com.
Okay, Martin at
bqfunds.com.
Okay, Martin, I love that. Okay, so that was a good, short, sweet, right to the point summary.
Thank you.
So tell a person that's listening, what does that mean? Bequest Funds, you have 9%. Tell me what that means to a regular person that doesn't really know what that means.
Sure. So if you take an individual or a family that wants to buy a home, they go into a bank or connect with a mortgage lender, and that mortgage lender runs them through an underwriting process.
Yep.
And if all goes well, then what's going to happen is they're going to draft closing documents. And one of those documents is a promissory note. And the other document is a deed of trust or a mortgage. And the promissory note essentially says, the borrower is going to borrow X amount of money and they're going to pay it back given these set of terms. And the mortgage or deed of trust document is going to tie that promise to collateral, which is in most likely case the home that the individuals are buying. And so what happens in 4% of the time is those mortgages go into default. So something happens in a person's life, whereas
What percent did you say?
the homeowner's life, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
what percent?
4%.
4%. Okay,
Mhm.
that's interesting.
So, a life event occurs with the homeowner, a divorce, health, or marriage, something happens, and they're unable to make their payments. And, these are good individuals.
Yep.
They have good intentions. They just had a life occurrence. And so what happens is, over a course of time, the bank or financial institution will bundle those mortgages into a tranche, also known as a pool, and sell them off to a hedge
A
fund.
tranche?
A tranche,
How do
yes.
you spell that?
TRAUCHE, tranche. I think
You
I
know,
got
I
that.
always called it a portfolio.
Portfolio,
That's
pool,
a new
yeah,
word
however
for
you
me,
want.
a tranche. Did I say it right?
Tranche. Yeah, tranche.
TRANCH,
So, and I
tranche.
probably misspelled it.
No, that's a new word for me. I have always used the word portfolio or pool. So I
Mhm.
just learned a new word today.
Yes.
Woo!
Hey,
30 years of real estate investing,
new.
folks. You never know everything.
It's the new you in 22.
I love it. A tranche. A new year in 22. Okay, I love it. All right.
So, a hedge fund. So in 2013, I formed a hedge fund buying these mortgages at discounts. And what I found in the mortgage loan industry is that a lot of hedge funds were buying these mortgages and just initiating foreclosure and
Yep.
taking back the properties as a capital gains play, right? So you go foreclose, these people are in default, you foreclose, take back the property, sell it at auction, or reposition it somehow as a turnkey rental, or sell it with seller financing or something. So what I determined is I wanted to do the opposite, and that is I wanted to connect with the homeowner, find out where they were at that period of time. Did they get their job back? Did they get remarried? Did they get their health back? And I wanted to create a payment plan that they could afford given their current budget, to help keep them in their home while creating long-term streams of cash flow for my company. And so that was the business model from day one, and it's worked out extremely well over the course of time.
You know, I gotta tell you something. I love that you do that. I have in the past purchased notes, like in the Rust Belt area, Ohio, areas like that,
Mhm.
where you buy a note, someone, I don't know, someone has a $40,000 house, and you buy the note for $5,000, and you call
Mhm.
the homeowner and say, "Hey, listen, I don't want to see you lose your house. What's happening now? How can you get back on track?" And you just give them a payment they can afford, and they'll keep making their payments. So
Yes.
I've done that individually, but I have never
Mhm.
done that like you with forming like an entire hedge fund that does that. And most hedge funds really are all about just like grabbing the houses, putting them in foreclosure, getting rid of them, selling out them to groups
Mhm.
of people.
Yeah.
I think you might be one of the first people I've met that actually has a fund that buys the houses to keep the homeowners in it.
Well, we buy the mortgages. So
That's what I mean, the
yeah,
mortgage.
yeah. And we own about $40 million in that particular hedge fund as well. And that's not Bequest. That's a separate hedge fund. Um, yeah, so the model
So you're
is
buying a
really
mortgage, say the house had, I don't know, you're buying a trounce, trounce,
tranche,
got a
tranche.
U in it, right? Trounce. Yeah, you're buying with a whole bunch of things and you get them for pennies on a dollar.
Yeah, it's a little bit more pricey in today's market, but you're getting a better quality. You're getting a better quality in terms of collateral and homeowner.
And then you have people in your office or firm or staff. Now, do you sell these mortgages out to other people, or does your company actually make the contact, make the connection, make it the new payment? And does your company actually do that part of it?
Yes, we have
Wow.
we have a 20-person operation. We have a team of asset managers that do nothing but do resolution workouts with the homeowners, and
Mhm.
we actually keep all the performing mortgages in house. So we don't resell, we don't flip. We keep the cash flow to operate our business.
Wow. I can't tell you how much like my motto is people before profit. So we're
Yes.
all about, yeah, I mean, I buy a lot of foreclosures, but some people I'm like, hey, listen, if there's a way you can keep your house, I always try to offer people advice to keep their house if they can.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, I'll buy it, and you'll make money, I'll make money, and off we'll go. And so personally, I've been able to do over 2,000 deals like that.
Nice.
So, but I really love the fact
Nice.
that you all really try to work with the people and try to keep them. So basically, you check out their credit, because I do subject to, so nothing on your level. I do like individual, but I do look at the person's credit, and I see, okay, you had great credit, illness, job loss, and now you're trying to get back on track again. And I feel like you do. I feel like those are people that are worthy of somebody giving them a break, because
Mm-hmm.
they're not deadbeats since they turned 18. They had something happen,
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
affected them. And that happens. I mean, I don't know a single soul on the face of the earth that hasn't had something happen to them somewhere along the path. And so when I do the subject twos, I do look at their credit, but I look for the good credit, whatever it was that happened, and then are they okay now, just like you were saying. So that is really great that your company does that on a giant scale, that you have $40 million in
Mm-hmm.
mortgages, and you're helping. So you must be helping just thousands of people.
Yes. Yeah, we are. And really the secret sauce is in the due diligence process during the acquisition phase.
Mhm.
We delve under the hood. We understand. We have all the analysis tools like credit reporting, so we have a good sense of who the homeowner is and what their ability to pay is at the
Mhm.
current time, as well as we understand the property valuations. We do title report searches and to understand lien validity. And we primarily focus on buying mortgages where it's on owner occupied properties.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to help the homeowner stay in their home. If we buy an investor ran property, then the chances are, I mean, they're not emotionally tied to that asset.
No, investors don't care. I mean, they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
Now you said 9%. So are you not bound by any of the laws? Like their interest rate was this much, and you can jack it to 9% like that?
So a lot of these mortgages, these are post originated mortgages. So these were mortgages originated, in the 2000s
Before
and
all the
so
Dodd-Frank stuff?
well, it's not so much that because when we buy these mortgages, so we're not originating mortgages, so we don't fall into the Dodd-Frank compliance
Oh, that's right.
laws.
That's
So
right.
we're
Yeah,
not, yeah,
you're just taking the one they have. You
we're
bought
buying
it
a
and you're offering it back out.
Yeah, we're modifying the terms of the loan. So we're not changing, we're not creating a new mortgage or a new note. We're modifying the existing terms of the promissory note. And so how we're able to pay out the 9% is, even though the coupon rate in most cases, average coupon rate on our mortgage portfolio is at 6.5%.
So
So what
tell people what
happens
a
is,
coupon rate is, because they don't know
well,
that.
interest rate. And so how it works with Bequest funds, which is a separate entity, is once that mortgage is performing and becomes seasoned again, so it's re-seasoned, re-performing, then we look to buy those types of mortgages into Bequest funds at yields of 11 to 12%. So we don't pay par for that mortgage coming into Bequest funds. So if a mortgage for 100,000 is purchased for 30,000 in a defaulted state, that hedge fund, whomever it is, gets a loan modification at 100,000
Yes.
back at par. Then Bequest will buy it in to our fund as long as it meets other criteria in terms of investment to value and other metrics. We'll buy it in for, say, 70,000, and the hedge fund still doubles their money.
Yeah.
And within a year, and we receive a performing asset with a good quality homeowner.
And then the people will ideally pay it off for, 30 years, 20 years, whatever it is. And 9%.
Yes. And we can pay 9% because we bought it in at a discount at an 11 to 13% yield.
Nice. I love your business model. I don't know why I don't already know about who you guys are. I'm so excited. I had the guy Emmanuel that finds
maybe I
for me.
shouldn't be on this podcast.
Yeah, no. I'm going to share the news. It's just no. I read your thing, but it's like talking to you about it. I get all the terminology and everything you do. It's like, well, that's really a neat thing to do. Now, what if someone like me, an investor, is like, hey, I'd like to invest with you guys or throw some money at this, or do you take investments from outside people, or are you just like, nope, it's all in house, we're keeping it right here?
So the hedge fund that buys in distressed mortgages, obviously there's more risk involved in that fund. That's a private company owned by my partner and myself, the $40 million company. And also to Bequest Funds is a $50 million income fund. So that is a 506C Reg D income fund, which means it's registered through SEC to take on accredited investors that come on. So as long as someone's accredited and we mesh in terms of culture, then they can come in with a minimum of 50K into the fund.
So 50,000 is the minimum buy-in, as long as they're an accredited investor.
Yes.
All right, so you all that are listening, you're like, hey, I've got a lot of money, I don't know what to do with it. Right here, this is your man right here.
Thank
But
you.
I have a lot of people, I mean, and when you're in the real estate, like I have students that are noobs, who are like right out of the gate. I know people that have been doing this for a million years, people that have like I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. And so I'm going to send people your way. This is a great thing.
Thanks, Dwan. And I'll tell you, what's interesting is because I'm also a real estate investor. My wife and I own a portfolio of commercial properties, and mostly industrial. And so I understand I've been a landlord for a number of years, and half of our investors are real estate investors. And about 70% of our investors are actual business owners / investors.
Yeah.
So what I found, and I actually didn't think of this when we first opened up this to the public, if you will. I thought it would be like kind of just the middle-aged white male retiring from corporate America, rolling over their 401k so that they could live the good life on the beach. And what I found is I found real estate investors and business owners that have been putting in 100-hour work weeks, working to, to the bone. And now they want to go and receive a balance in life in terms of increasing their passive income to offset all the active work they're doing for income.
It is true. I know a lot of, actually a lot of my own students have made so much money that now they're like, I don't want to do that part. I just want to be like a hard money lender.
Yes.
But then you have all the risk with being a hard money lender because you're lending to, individual investors in your area. And if they don't know what they're doing, or, you get the house back. But I just know so many people that would love to have money in something a little safer.
Yeah. And
not volatile, because it's not like the stock market, it goes crazy. Like if people, now let me ask you, if someone defaults on their thing, are you in good enough contact that they just say, hey, listen, we're just going to deed you back the house and we're going to split? Or do you actually have to foreclose and go through the whole big thing?
Yeah. So in Bequest funds, our collectability percentage is at 98.58%. So 98.58% of our portfolio is paying as they should be paying. And we have a controller that monitors that daily. And we have an asset manager dedicated to connecting with the homeowners to make sure that they keep on track. Now, we also have a third-party licensed servicer. So that servicer keeps us on track in terms of regulation and compliance. But we very much piggyback off the effort to make sure that, people know that our whole motto is really to build deep-rooted relationships with these homeowners. We view the homeowners as customers because they're paying our bills, they're paying our wages, and that's how we treat them. So we actually treat them like gold.
That's why I like my own motto, people before profits, because whether it's a homeowner or an investor or someone like you or someone like me, if you just put people first, just the rest of it will fall into place.
Oh, even like on the real estate, on your side with the tenants, I mean, it's the same. It should be the same philosophy. There's so many landlords that really don't have the customer service angle down and how they treat the tenants, and they're just looking to squeeze every ounce of juice out of the tenant. When if you just treat them with respect and just understand their people with situations, then you'll go a long way.
I agree with you. And the other thing is, I have not done a whole lot of the loans where I called the homeowners and worked out payments with them. But if you have someone that lives in their house and you do acquire their mortgage, and you can just say, hey, listen, what can you afford? And maybe their payment's $1,000 and they can afford 700, and you do that for them, they'll never go anywhere. They'll
Yeah.
stay and stay and stay and stay and stay till the end of time, because first of all, you show them some respect and worked with them, but you gave them a payment they can afford to make.
Yeah, because what's the alternative? If you give them a payment they cannot afford to make, they're going to take the deal, right? Because they want to appease you, or they want to appease the situation, but
Yep.
they're going to default again.
Yep.
And so it just works to everyone's advantage to come up with the right number, and hopefully it works with our IRR projection, and as well as works for them financially. And I'll say this too, and this is what I found after working with thousands of these mortgages over the course of years, is that you find that you have gained respect of these homeowners and endeared yourself to them, and actually you become top of mind when it comes to making payments, and
you do.
and your collectability percentages will reflect that relationship.
Yeah. I've done, I don't know, I mean, nothing compared to you. I've done about 450 subject twos where, someone deeded the house to me, I offered to somebody else, that couldn't quite go with the bank. But you know what? I've never had a single person default. I stay in communication. Like, hey, if you can't make the payment and you need to leave, you can deed the house back to me, and we'll be friends. But just that little bit, like you said, just having someone that stays in touch and make sure they're okay and watches their payment history and stuff. People don't want to default, but the banks just treat them like shit. Here's a letter, make your payment. We're gonna default. They put you on that stupid every 4-hour auto dialer.
Yeah.
And then people change their numbers and they stop taking calls. They don't open their mail, and they're in such an adversarial position with the bank that the bank would just be nice to people. they would get so much further.
That is so funny. It's so, it's funny. Like, people are listening to your podcast to learn about real estate investing, and we're doing a whole thing on customer service because that's at the heart of all of it.
You know what? Customer service is key. It is. It's funny. It is. We're turning into we're doing like a PSA for customer service right now.
Well, what's interesting is what I've come to find. I've written 4 books, 3 of which are on the mortgage note industry. And what I've come to find in terms of just doing self-reflection and putting my systems down on paper is that a lot of this whole customer service thing we're talking about, how to treat the homeowners, it's the same way you should treat your strategic partners on the acquisition front. So if you're on the real estate side, your brokers, your bird doggers, whoever else is throwing you deals, you should be treating them with that same level of respect. You should be treating them like gold, like they're paying for your kids' food.
They're supporting your lifestyle and your livelihood.
Yeah. So everybody that you come in contact with in your business, also internally, like we do so much for our culture here. We start our mornings. You start your morning with a stretch here. We actually do jumping jacks and high knees and to kick off the day. And then we have an all team meeting where everybody in the company goes round robin and talks about a win for the day prior and what their metrics are, where they are month to date. And we celebrate successes here. We ring a bell whenever someone does something notable.
I love it.
And so we do so much because if everybody you come into contact with, you need to be treating with TLC.
I agree. I get really angry at people sometimes, especially investors, that I see how shitty they treat their tenants or even other investors or even like their agent or their title company. It's like, dude, that person is literally helping support you. Like, why are you?
Yeah. Exactly.
I stopped working with many, many, many people because I can't stand the way they treat other people.
Yes.
Like, they'll be nice to me and Dwan can do something for me, but you need to be nice to the people that can't do something for you.
And at the end of the day, when you become seasoned in whatever profession you're in, you'll find that you've built yourself a nice tribe or community of people that are like-minded and treat each other respectfully. And I actually found that with investors, like early on when I first started talking to investors, I found like, oh, someone would tell me, well, why would I come into Bequest at 9%? My Apple stock's doing XYZ. And I just felt like I'm not going down that road where I'm going to sit here and try to convince you and move you
Hmm.
my way. Like there's so many people that are like, look, stock market's risky. It stresses me out. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not looking for the anxiety and I'm looking for stability and comfort so I can go out and grind and do and kick ass with other areas that I'm kicking ass with.
Yep.
And so these are the people like they're like me, right? Because I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I have my money in Bequest. I got, a lot of my own cash in Bequest, but yet I'm parking it and I'm grinding, in so many other ways.
Nice. I love it. I'm gonna put some of my money in Bequest too. I gotta tell you, I was like, oh yeah, I got into crypto a little bit. It's my poor crypto account. It's
Nice.
so pathetic right now. It's like, oh my God, it's like this much is in there. I'm like, why did I do that? It's
I
not
know.
real estate. Real estate's always steady.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
always, no matter what I do out, I always loop back. Like, you know what? I'm just sticking to real estate.
But those crypto
Anything
people
to do
have,
in real estate is good.
I fully agree. I don't have a penny in the stock market, so I don't
No.
play the casino, but I respect the argument that the crypto folks have for sure in terms of what governments are doing and everything else. But to me, it's all about monthly income.
It is. It is. And every time, like I even looked at my little portfolio last night and I see all these red lines down. I'm just like, why did I do that? Yeah, no, I'm like you. I don't do the stock market. I just, I feel like, I mean, since the beginning of time, since the days of the Bible,
Yeah.
that people that were wealthy own land.
Yes.
Real estate is how you make, and then there's more new, you know this. There's more new millionaires with real estate, some
Mhm.
type of real estate, than all the other new millionaires combined. Real estate's always the number one way to become wealthy.
It's
So,
funny. I had a guy the other day. He was telling me, he was talking to me about putting 400K in the fund, and he was like, I've been in the stock market my whole life, and he goes, you guys haven't been, you're an alternative investment. You haven't been around as long as the Wall Street trends and everything else. And I said, I'm not going to convince you to come in the fund, but I'll say this. Mortgages have been around since biblical times,
yeah,
and stock market's only been around 100 years or what
yeah,
have you. So, I consider the stock market alternative investment.
I do too. It's always, yeah, and you're right. Real estate. I mean, the richest person way back in the Bible was Solomon, and he had so much land and like so many animals. It was like, okay, look, even in the Bible, the wealthy people had land, they had real
Yes.
estate, something. So I'm with you. I think real estate is just. I had my little crypto thing. Like, oh, it's so much fun because it's new. Now I'm just like, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And I know that people will come and go, Dwan, you don't understand. It's like, you know what? I really don't want to learn another entire business. I love real estate investing.
Yes.
I love like what you do. I love
Yes.
what you do. And that's a neat thing about real estate is there's so many ways to do it. You can buy multi-unit
Mhm.
apartments. You can have a company like yours where you get people back on track with their mortgages. You can be a wholesaler, rehab, or developer. You can just buy one little single family house at a time. There's something that fits every single person.
And you can have really effects on a whole community, providing good housing for people.
Yeah.
There's one of our industrial buildings that a church, an African church,
Mhm,
leases and has
mhm.
leased since for the past 5 years. And so these individuals, most beautiful people that have the most beautiful dress and whatnot on a Sunday morning, they used to be in their home. And they
Yep.
used to be so limited, and now they have a whole congregation and it's growing and growing because they
Oh
have the
yeah.
space for it to grow. All of that because there's a real estate property for them.
Yeah. I grew up, my family is from Tennessee and they're Southern Baptists. And you haven't lived till you've been to black church. They're just like whooping and hollering, and everybody's dressed so fine. And
Yeah.
I have one by my house in Florida and I go to, and I'm literally the only white person in there. And they're all like, go for it, because especially the pink hair. Come on in, girl, sit up here with me. And they all love me. But the
Yeah.
way I just, you haven't lived and you spending like that's my favorite thing to do. And my husband's always like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Dude, you were raised some weird conservative, like you can't raise your hands up." It's like, no, church is supposed to be fun. So, all
Oh
right,
yeah.
so let's go back a little bit. So
Mhm.
first of all, how long have you been doing this?
So I've been an entrepreneur since '04, and my wife and we founded a government contracting company that designed and fabricated museum exhibit displays for the federal government. And we started buying commercial real estate in '09 as landlords.
Uh-huh.
And we sold the government contracting company in 13. And from there, I've been doing this, the mortgage
And
loans.
how old are you? Can I ask how old you are?
Sure, 48.
48. You're still a pup. How long
Oh,
you been
yeah.
married?
Well, married, four children.
Aw, how long you been
So,
married?
17 years, and our children are 9, 8, 6, and 4. So they're babies.
I just had my 20-year anniversary. Unfortunately, Bill was my third husband. I wish I would have snapped him up first, but it's never too late to find the right guy. So we
Sure,
just
sure.
I'm 63, so we just had our 20-year wedding anniversary. It's like, oh,
Good for you. Congrats.
it's
You
really
still don't
great.
look
And
it.
we didn't have kids together, but he had two, I had one, so we
Mhm.
became this amazing blended family. And gosh, I tell you, marriage is really great when you get it right.
Yes.
It is
Amen
good.
to that.
I had two kind of crappy ones before that, so it taught me what to look out for. So Bill came along and was like, listen, I got a checklist this long.
Yes.
I don't want. Oh, so let's go back a little bit. So where were you raised?
In New Jersey,
Okay.
outside
So
Manhattan.
what was like a 13, 14, 15? What was that Martin like? What were you doing then?
Oh, I was a total punk. I did skateboarding. I was BMX dirt biking. I was a C- student all through high school, as well as middle school and elementary school. And so I just goofed off. I would cut school and take the train to New York City, which you could do as a kid at that time. It was
Oh
safe
yeah.
enough. And hang out in Chinatown, buy fireworks. I would, when I was in school, I would be selling blow pops to kids and I sold fireworks at one time till I got in trouble. And so I was always working, always to myself, always about making money. It was just in my soul to be that person.
So, it's funny. One of the things, because I call this session Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. And so I've been interviewing, I think, for about a year. I've had my podcast for 4 years. I started interviewing last year. Every single solitary person, including you. When I asked what they were doing, they were young. They were doing something to make money, no matter what it was. Even if you're
Yeah.
selling fireworks or whatever you're doing, there's not one single person who's like, oh yeah, I was just living off my parents and like going to school. Every single one was figuring out how to make money young.
So at 5 years old, I got one for you. At 5 years old, and I took rocks that were in front of my house and I put them in a bucket and I washed them and I went door to door selling them to the neighbors. And I guess that was a different time period too. I don't think we let the kids do that now, but yeah. So, but 5 years old, and I was always doing chores for money around the house, and so I was very money driven, but not in a greedy way, but just a way like I felt a need that I needed to earn that as independence.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was making money as a kid too. My parents we lived in the country. So we would, and we had a big garden. So we would work the garden, pick the garden, and pick the cantaloupes and the watermelon, and go up on the street corner and put up like a fruit market and sell things. And I'm like 12 years old. I
Wow.
look back, it's like, why would my parents let me go up on the corner by the highway and like sell stuff to people driving by? I could have been kidnapped,
Dwan.
right? But back then you never thought that could happen to you. But my
Yeah.
sister and I'd be in our little tube tops, a little shorts, and we'd have like 80 watermelons and a bunch of cantaloupe, and we'd make a ton of money.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And
Keep kids
and now I'm thinking, why would you do that? Oh my God, the world is crazy. But
Yeah.
that was like that would have been early 70s. I graduated high school in 77. Been like early 70s, but you could do that. You could put your kid up on the corner by the highway and nobody would snatch them.
Yeah.
I did get asked that a lot though by older men, and I'd be like, ew, yeah, like my dad. Look, so gross.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so my first thing I can remember was like selling watermelons and cantaloupes and peaches, and and stuff up on the corners.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
That's
funny.
awesome.
And so I always talk to people. So I was never afraid to talk to people. And I think that takes you a long way in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
not being
Yeah.
afraid to talk to I just talk to anybody. It's just, if you stopped, I was going to sell you something. If you
Yeah.
stopped your
No.
car, you were leaving with a bag of stuff.
Yeah. And what's interesting, like social media, a lot of people kind of hide behind technology and computers when communicating with people, but nothing beats good old fashioned, having a market like you did and,
Yeah.
interacting with someone who wants fruit and vegetables.
Yeah. And then when we got to be about 15, I had my sister was 3 years younger. So there was like me and my sister, and my two cousins. So we were like 13, 14, 15, 16. So now they used to remember the old drive-ins.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a big
Yeah.
drive-in in Dayton called Dixie Drive-In, and they
Okay.
had a flea market during the day. So just tons of people. So now we're like, listen, we want to make more money. So now we just come up with this idea, and we're just kids. We're gonna put this idea. We're gonna have my dad take us to the flea market, drop us off. We're gonna rent a booth and set up. And what we did is we would take all the watermelon and stuff and slice it and keep
Yeah.
it in a cooler, and then we'd sell a fresh ice cold watermelon by the
Oh,
fly. So people would be like, oh, because flea markets are in the summer. It'd be so
yeah.
hot. And we would sell them for like, I don't even remember what we sold them for,
Oh
but we like
man.
tripled selling off on
Yeah.
the corner. We're like, screw the corner. We're going to the flea market.
Yeah.
So we weren't even old enough to drive ourselves down. We had to be driven down,
Um,
picked back up. And so then we got that bright. And I did that for like 3 summers in a row. I,
wow.
I sold watermelon with my cousins, a big old corner and by the slice. And it was so funny because you think like, that's so crazy that I did that.
Oh, that's so cool.
But
That's
it's fun because we had fun because you got your sister, your cousins, like you're hanging out and you're having a
yeah.
goofy day and you're making so much money. And then we'd split it and then we'd have to pay for, because we had to go buy it and pick it. But gosh, we were making so much money as kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really
And just
funny.
just learning how to be independent and
Yeah.
autonomous and all
And
that.
of course, as a young girl, I spent all my money on clothes and makeup. So I didn't
Oh
save
gosh.
any of it. But
Has that
that's what you
changed?
did.
Has
They
that
had
changed
malls.
yet?
Malls were a new thing.
Has that changed from then? Spending all your
I still
money on
spend way too
clothes
much
and
money on
makeup?
clothes. My husband's like, you have clothes come in the mail every day. It's like, well, I need something new for every single show.
Exactly. Makes
I
sense to
still
me.
do that. I still like to buy clothes. I don't know. That's the one thing. People are like, what do you buy? I'm like, clothes. So I don't know. That's my thing. Okay. So you were doing that. So when you got to be like 20, 25, so you went from punk skateboarding, but selling things and making money in school, skipping school, going to the city. I don't blame you for that. 2025, where were you at then? Like what was Martin thinking? Like, okay, I can't skateboard, I can't keep selling stuff in highs. Now I'm older. Where was your mind at then?
Yeah, so I had gone to college and took up philosophy as a major, which was great because I just learned a love of reading and knowledge and always just kind of a curious person. But I learned soon thereafter how cruel the world can be with a philosophy degree. And so, I mean, I just remember like I went to a temp agency for work and they told me I didn't have the skills to do anything with a philosophy degree, and they took everybody. So so I mean, they didn't even ask me to shovel, to dig a
You're
ditch
like
or anything.
philosophy, you qualify for that.
And I found a job as a mortgage officer doing mortgage loans, and what was really interesting is that there was a file cabinet of all the previous mortgage loans
Mhm.
that were done, and this was during the 90s, and so I just would plan out a day to call everyone in the file cabinet. I would call like a certain section. I would just call and be like, hey, do you have new credit card bills? Do you have debt consolidation? And I would lower people's like overall monthly payments with doing that. And I did extremely well doing that.
See, you were already doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You were
I didn't.
already
Yeah.
You're already rocking it. That is so cool. It is funny to see like how people go, through their transition until they find the thing that they really love, which for
Hmm.
you, it's your Bequest funds, which I love what you do.
I
So
love it.
I
Yeah.
love what you do.
You know what I love too, that I didn't even touch on, like this is my true passion. Obviously, helping homeowners, building freedom of time in my life for my family. My wife gets to do whatever. She volunteers at the school where the kids go. They go to a private school. She volunteers there all day, and she's doing what she loves. And it's about working with the other investors to help them create financial freedom and freedom of time in their lives. I'm extremely passionate about that because I've seen what it's done in my life. Because when we had the government contracting company, 100-hour work weeks, now it's like I'm working because I want to work, and I could let it go at any time. And it's such a blessing. And if I can help other investors get to that point, because so many people work too hard for their money just to give it away to a financial planner or someone, and lose control over what that money can do for them.
Yeah, no, my heart, I feel you, man. My heart feels your heart. All right, so let me ask you a couple random questions.
Yes.
What's your favorite band of all time? You only get to pick one.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Passenger. So they're like a folk. Yeah, it's like a folk kind of rock.
You know what? I don't know who Passenger is. How do I not know that? I am like a music person.
Yeah, he's like friends with Ed Sheeran, and so he's on the British.
No, I'm gonna listen today. I've only had two people give me a band that I was not familiar with in the whole time, and I was like, oh, Passenger. Okay,
check them out.
I'm going to. No, I'm going to, because I always want to be. I like to be in the know.
Yes.
I like to be in the know. And tell me, what's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Pizza's good.
It's the Jersey in me, and you're in Delray too, so that's pretty much Jersey too, right?
It is. I don't know. Well, you probably don't know if you know the area. There's a place down there called Bambini's. They have like that New York, New Jersey kind of pizza. So every time I go down, that's one of the first places I go, because the pizza is good. And pizza does not like me, but dang, man, I freaking love pizza. So
oh, right.
I eat it all the time. Gluten is not my friend as I've gotten older. Yeah. But there's just certain pizzas you're like, you know what? I don't even care. It's so good. I'm having it.
Exactly. You only YOLO, right?
That's it. That is exactly right. It is YOLO. So most people have like a place, someplace in the world, wherever it is. And when you're at that place, you're just like, everything is right with the world. Where's your place at?
So I have to go with when anywhere on Saturday. So we call Saturday Dadder Day at the house. And so I usually take the kids, all 4 kids out to give my wife a little time to go and do things. She doesn't take it easy. She's grinding at the house. But anyway, so I take the kids out, and wherever we go, that is my favorite place.
Aw, I've never heard of that before. Dadder Day.
Dadder Day.
What a great thing. I'm gonna tell it to my son. He's 30, he's got 4 kids, and just works their butt off. And he was just takes care of the kids. It's like you stay home for 2 weeks and take care of 4 kids. I'm gonna tell him about, listen, you're gonna start doing a Dadder Day. I love that. I love that. What a great thing.
Yeah, and what I found too that helps with Dadder Day is we joined a social club, Longboat Key Club, and so they have a pool. It's right on the ocean, right on the Gulf, and everything else. So I'll take them there. We'll get fed. They'll get to run around and be nuts, and we'll all swim in the pool, and I get to throw them around, and then we come home like everyone's fed, everyone's tired out, and we're good to go.
And your wife got a little bit of time for herself too.
Yes.
She's probably working, cleaning house, doing all kinds of busy things, but maybe on Saturdays, like give her a masseuse and say, listen, all these people, this is what you're going to do. You have spa day every Saturday.
There you go. I'm good with that.
Okay. Yes. So tell us one more time how people can reach you.
Sure. So best way, send me an email at martin@bqfunds.com, or just visit bqfunds.com.
Okay, I love it. And so let me just review. So I kind of just like to see if I learned a little bit about Martin today. So Martin Saenz, I love that. And you are in the Bequest funds. Basically, you founded a hedge fund where you buy defaulted mortgages and work with the actual homeowners and try to restructure and keep them in their house, which I super love. And you're 48, you're married 17 years, you got 4 kids, you like passenger pizza, dadder day. You used to be a punk skateboarder, as you said, skipping
Yes.
school, doing things, but still earning money. Took that super high power paying philosophy major. And then got into mortgage loans. And when you work there, you start kind of going through files and working out. So you were already starting what it is you do.
Yes.
Maybe without recognizing what you were doing, but you already had the heart for that. And your passion is to help investors to create freedom.
Absolutely. You're dead on.
Is that a little
All
bit
right,
about you? I know it's
Dwan.
not a lot. I can't learn a whole lot in 45 minutes, but is that a little bit?
That's like, you nailed it. You nailed it.
I
You
have
rock.
to take notes. That's why I like to talk to people on the show. People are like, oh, let's interview ahead of time. So I want to find out all the fun stuff about you. Okay. So at the end of every podcast, first of all, thank you for being a guest on my show today.
Of course.
Do you have a podcast?
I don't.
Okay. So just so all of you know, I do have a podcast, and the way the podcast grows and the way we're able to get amazing guests like Martin to come on is I need you all to subscribe and to follow and to leave 5-star reviews. So my ask of you is, if you learned one single solitary thing today, is to take a minute to go to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. Give me a 5-star review, write something amazing, tell me what you learned, and start subscribing. And I learned about the word tranche, so I'm pretty excited. I learned a new thing today too. I'm always excited I learn something new.
Nice.
So at the end of the show, I do something I call the 5 equities of life. And the 5 equities are financial, spiritual, physical, family, and mental. And I feel like everything in our life kind of falls under one of the categories. Like family could be, your family, your friends, and whatever. Financial, all the things. Spiritual, everything kind of falls under that. And I find, especially when people are grinding in the beginning to make it, they get too focused on maybe one thing, and other things take a back seat. That's why I like your passion about helping investors to create freedom, because freedom is not just with their time. It's with their time, it's with their money, it's being able to give more to family and friends. And I know when I was really a new investor, I was just like all focused on money because, I was broke and I didn't want to be broke anymore. So I like to help people try to have a little bit of balance. So I like to have our guests to give us, so what we do is you give us the equity, and then you give us a small assignment, and everyone that listens knows that I ask them to do it for 1 week. And if they like it, keep doing it. And if they don't, that's okay. They did something different this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a to-do to present to the group here. And this is something that
what's the category?
Financial.
Okay, financial is good.
And it is, I would just say it's doing the math. So what that means is before you get started in whatever endeavor you're looking to do, or whatever investment opportunity, look at yourself, take a step back, look at yourself and say, okay, well, how much, because we're talking about passive income, right? The power of it and how that leads you towards financial freedom. So look at how much you're earning, write down how much you're earning in passive income today, currently, per month. So this is passive income where you have to do little to no work to obtain that money. It comes in like clockwork. And then look at what you need in terms of passive income to maintain your standard of living at this point. So in other words, if your active income is 20,000 a month, then and to maintain your standard of living. So if you didn't have that active income, you would need passive income at 20,000 a month. So if you're at 0, then you know where you need to go. You know where point A and point B is. And then next, say, how long do you give yourself to obtain passive income at the level that maintains your standard of living? So if you have 10 years on the clock by which you want to retire or step back or what have you, then you know that you need to obtain, $2,000 per year for the next 10 years to get you to the $20,000 point. so that you can go and have assurance. And it's all about creating predictability in your life with your finances, and kind of steering away from strategies of hope, like you're hoping the stock market will do this, or you're hoping precious metals will do that. It's like, what can you count on? And that is vehicles, whether it's Bequest, whether it's whatever other income fund, bond, or whatever investment vehicle. But as long as you do the math and you say, well, how do I get to 2,000 in passive income for the first year? And then always start with the first step. And then once you do the first step, then the second, third will be easier. Hopefully.
I like it. I like it. I know that one thing I've noticed over my last 30 years of being an investor and also trading is people just go, oh, I'm going to make $1 million this year. It's like, well, how are you going to do it? Well, I don't know, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
No plan, so probably not going to happen. But I like that. People just need to take a second and do the math, see what they want passive, where they need to go, and like start their game plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. And people don't do that. They kind of wing. I find most people just kind of wing it year by year. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that.
Well, or they start into the doing. They start into the technical aspect of whatever business. They say, well, let me buy my first property, or let me buy, 2 investment properties, or what have, versus saying, well, what is that going to produce? I mean, and you can have an investment property that produces, negative 500 a month, and you can have one that produces 2K per month in positive. Till you sit down and do the math,
that is a good assignment, everyone. Take a minute and do some math. And if you're an accredited investor, this is where you need to go. Okay, so that is an excellent equity. So I appreciate that. So the last thing is I want you to give me, and it has to just be one single word. Give us a parting word of wisdom. Not like a whole thing, like a word.
A word or sentence? Can I do a sentence?
A word.
Cash flow.
Is that one word or two?
It's hyphenated.
Okay, we'll hyphenate and count as one.
Thank you. I was going to go with control. I could have gone with control too.
Control's good too. Control's good. They're all good words. All right. Well, Martin, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really enjoyed talking to you today. I enjoyed getting to know you. I literally love what you do. Like I love what you do. I
had a great time. I had a great time with you.
Thank you. So don't hang up yet. I'm going to sign off here for a minute. So everybody, thank you for tuning in to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm Dwan Twyford, America's most sought after real estate investor. Check out Martin. Always hit me up at dwanderful.com or at Dwanderful across all social medias. And we'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And remember, the truth is in the red letters. All right, everybody. Ciao. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you for dropping by to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever, making real estate investment wonderful each and every time. And for more information on how to make your real estate dreams a reality, keep an eye on dwanderful.com and be sure to become a member.